Nature versus nurture. Nature is our genetics determine our behavior, and nurture is our environment, upbringing, and life experiences determined our behavior. So basically, nature is genetics, physical appearance, biological influences, and nurture is environment, upbringing, and social influences. So, nature versus nurture, which is the most powerful influence on a person's character? The questioning of nurture versus nature has been a hot subject of debate throughout the ages. One of the oldest issues in psychology and has evoked intrigue and questioning amongst the minds of many. It tackles which of the two inherited traits or learned traits are more influential over a person's behavior and personality. Nature refers to the physical and personality traits, which are genetically inherited. We know the coding of our genes determines our physical appearance. There's also evidence to support that behavioral genes exist, while nurture refers to that of your experiential environment, all of the environmental factors that impact who we are from the get-go. Childhood experiences, how we are raised, social relationships, and culture. I do believe that one's personality is shaped by a combination of both the nature, which is genetic, and the nurture, which is environmental influences. In an article by Ms. Cooper White titled Nature or Nurture, it was discussed how Professor Postuma, a statistical geneticist at the University of Amsterdam, conducted a research about this debate. Their study designed for the analysis, Postuma and her colleagues surveyed 2,748 twin studies published between 1958 and 2012, looking at more than 17,000 traits. The studies compared variation in identical twins who share all of their genes to differences between fraternal twins who share half only. The research investigated both physical traits like weight, height, and metabolism, and psychological traits such as temperament, personality, intelligence, and the likelihood of suffering from anxiety or depression. The researchers found that across all traits, the average heritability or the amount of variation attributable to genetic differences was 49%. Environmental factors and or measurement errors accounted for the other 51%. Examples of nature versus nurture. High blood pressure and obesity. Nature advocates argue that genetics have a high impact on obesity and high blood pressure. Nurture proponents point to the poor eating habits that cause obesity and the limited ability to regulate personal habits that lead to high blood pressure. Second example, homosexuality. Nature proponents believe that homosexuality is genetic or outside of a person's control. Nurture proponents believe that homosexuality is a choice or a behavior influenced by environmental factors. Personality is a personality and influence of the parent through genetics or learned traits from their environment. Because a child acts like a mother suggests that they were predisposed to the hereditary influence of the mother. However, nurture advocates would suggest that growing up under the direct presence of their mother, it was a learned personality and not genetically passed. On another article by Paula Scomega of Its Nature and Nurture, she tackles the studies that was done at the University of Colorado. According to the study, the most likely explanation for why classmates, genes, influence students' educational attainment is what researchers call evocative gene-environment correlation. For example, certain genes increase the likelihood of children having an irritable temperament, which in turn evokes relatively harsh treatment from their parents. Their genes create the environment to which they are exposed, he says. It's not just your genes, it's the cumulative influence of your friends and classmates' genes. Is there anyone here remember the NASA twin study? The twin study propelled NASA into the genomics era of space travel. It was a groundbreaking study comparing what happened to astronaut Scott Kelly in the space compared to his identical twin brother Mark, who remained on Earth. The perfect nature versus nurture study was born. This was a very elaborate experiment aiming to show data or facts about how environment play a big role on human beings and how it can alter genomes. These are the brothers. This is Mark and this is Scott. He's the one that traveled outside the space. And Mark is the one that stayed on Earth. So, is our intelligence based on nature or nurture? As with most human traits, intelligence is now understood to be the result of some combination of both nature and nurture. While genes have an influence on the size and biochemistry of the brain, its full development does not usually occur until after the first 20 years of life. Also, the hereditary of intelligence tends to vary between different aspects of cognition. So let us unite to create a sustainable environment for our young ones and help mold them so they can maximize their strength and wisdom.